I originally contacted Martin Gerard when I was looking for a flat to buy, and I was basically getting in contact with all of the estate agents around Kentish Town. Maria sent me through an off-market property, which I thought looked good, which was this one. Essentially, I then immediately rang her up and said, "Oh, I'd like to view this. What's the situation?" And we came for a viewing, and I came to do a viewing, and I thought it looks great, fair price, really nice, meets my needs. And I put in an offer, and then that was that, really. From the moment that I met Maria, she was upfront about the situation, about what was on offer, about what the seller was like, about what they would expect. Also, really interestingly, because I had viewed a house that was much more expensive than this one originally, I was really nervous that when I said, okay, I've got a new budget, it's this, that she'd think, oh, well, actually, you've looked at the other one, so I think you can probably go up quite a lot, and she'd be pushing me in that way. I thought that was going to be to my disadvantage, because the more a estate agent knows about your history, the more disadvantaged you are generally. But I said to her, this is my new budget, and she did not push me on that. She said, I understand that, I respect that, and there was no questions about it. She took what I said at face value, and she didn't push me on it, which is so valuable. It's so sort of supportive to have that kind of person who will genuinely listen to what you're saying and not trying to push you to do things that aren't right for you, because it's such a long-term thing. It's such a huge thing to be doing. You want to know that the person who's, looking after it from both the seller's perspective and the buyer's perspective has got both of your interests at heart. It genuinely felt like she had equal stake in my interest and the seller's interest, which is really weird because technically it's the seller who's paying her, not me, the buyer. So it was really, really refreshing to have an estate agent on my team who, despite the fact that I'm not technically her client, was treating me as if I were a client of hers. If I needed something, Maria would go out of her way to make it happen in the best way possible and work to ensure that my interests were met as much as the seller's interests were met, which is just unlike anything I've found in estate agents generally. I'm one of the first ones to buy a house in my friendship group, and I've sort of been learning as I go when it comes with estate agents, and I've been having such difficult times with one of the other estate agents that I was dealing with. Really didn't like him, really, really struggled to have to deal with him because I felt like I had to be, everything was underhand, everything was a bit sort of not nice. And then I came across Maria and I was like, I don't understand. She's so nice. She's so honest. She genuinely feels like she's looking after me. I don't understand. I was so confused about it because it's not my experience with any estate agents. So communication is so important when it comes to working with estate agents when you're buying a house, because it can be so difficult when you want updates, you need updates, and not being able to get them or not being able to have your needs heard or acknowledged even, or questions answered by an estate agent is so difficult. And I found that with the previous estate agent who I was working with, I would email him, not get a response, email him again, not get a response, WhatsApp him. I finally got his WhatsApp number, which slightly helped because he was a bit better on WhatsApp, but basically I couldn't get a hold of him. He wouldn't answer the phone. It was awful. Maria, on the other hand, gave me her personal phone number, always answered the phone, always emailed me back. Always, she would send me updates in the mornings or at the start of the week, just checking in, unasked, like not prompted, just giving me everything I needed to know, which also just served to make me feel like I was being looked after. It all just kind of works around that. Communication makes you feel like you're being looked after. Maria was one of the only estate agents who I felt like I could trust, which was a sort of brand new experience for me, because I just thought that no, you can't trust any estate agents. But then when it came to the accepting the offer, she worked really hard to get my offer through, which sort of built that trust a little bit in me, because I thought, okay, she's actually on my side and she's been really communicative throughout the whole thing. So that kind of served to build the trust. And then throughout the experience of the purchase of the house, she was so communicative, she was so honest. She would take if I had a question, she would go and ask the sellers or the seller solicitors immediately, get back to me as soon as she could. She would pass me on to, if she was off, she would pass me on to her colleague Annie, who was also really, really helpful. I basically felt like there was a team of people there, led by her, from my perspective, who would listen to what I need and get it done, really. And that was really, really helpful for building that trust. I felt like the whole of my experience with Maria was her going above and beyond. I think, especially if you compare it to other estate agents, which I can't help but do, Maria really, really continuously tried to make me feel like I was being looked after and being listened to and heard and supported throughout the process. I'm a first-time buyer. I didn't know how to do anything really at all, and I had her being really, really communicative, answering the phone to me and talking me through everything and communicating my needs to the seller throughout the whole process, which was, I mean, she does it with a sort of calm, professional, cheery grace that is really, really enjoyable to sort of interact with. She just makes you feel like you're all good on that side of things, which is so important when you're buying a house, feeling all good on the estate agent side of things. Choosing to go with Martin Gerrard did essentially get a different result than if I had gone with another high street agent, because I had Maria working really hard to get my offer through, which was going to work because she understood that it was going to work for me and the sellers, and she wasn't around to push me to pay more for a house. That's the fact of it. She understood that I had a good deal and the seller should take my offer, and that was that. There was no mucking around with pushing me up for the sake of an extra 5 or 10 grand. Other agencies would push me to do more. They would be not communicating with me. They would definitely not. I mean, I've had a direct experience with another high street agent. It just felt like he was lying to me the whole time, and just everything he said to me was trying to push me up, not communicating what the seller would actually want from me in order that I could, maybe deliver it. Yeah, just a completely different story. The reason I'm giving up my time to do this testimonial is because I've not experienced another estate agent like Maria, and I've been through a lot, and none of them are anywhere near as enjoyable and as professional and as good to work with from the buyer's side, which is my experience. I would definitely recommend Martin Gerrard and Maria specifically to other people looking to buy. The experience I've had with them is completely different to any other experience with any other high street estate agent in the area or beyond.